of an absence of real sexual partner, there's an open loop of neurochemicals, including oxytocin and prolactin. Remember, dopamine goes up during pursuit, anticipation, then peaks and then crashes below baseline after orgasm and ejaculation. So this kind of low that people fear is putting them into an amotivated state.
Welcome back to Biohacking Insights. In today's video, neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman sits with renowned clinical psychologist Dr. Jordan Peterson to discuss the destructive effects of masturbation and pornography on mental health and how it destroys your life. How deep do the destructive effects of pornography go? Why should anyone stop masturbating?
I was starting to get a lot of questions. I was kind of surprised. I thought, well, I'm male and, maybe that's why they feel comfortable asking. But people were saying, we're asking about pornography, and they were asking, I realized we want to, I'll just be direct about it. They were asking whether or not masturbation was bad. They were asking whether or not masturbation with ejaculation was particularly bad. And here's my stance on this.
Dr. Huberman clarifies that he is a biologist and a neurologist, not a psychologist. Still, reliable scientific data has been proven over and over again that if an individual repeatedly engages in the circuitry with increasingly potent forms of stimulation, like masturbation and pornography that are on a screen, a couple of things happen. Dr. Huberman reveals that what's being reinforced at their peril is a high dopaminergic response to watching other people engage in sexual behavior, which is very different from being in a first-person sexual experience. People risk developing a strong pleasure response from watching others in sexual situations, which is very different from being in such a situation yourself. Unfortunately, this means that what's increasing is not their ability to attract a partner, but rather a tendency known as voyeurism, which involves enjoying watching others engage in sexual activities. Masturbation can trigger the brain's reward system, which involves several key neurochemicals. Dopamine plays a crucial role in the brain's reward circuitry. It's released when you engage in pleasurable activities, including masturbation. Dopamine creates feelings of pleasure and reinforces the behavior, making you more likely to repeat it. Endorphins are natural painkillers produced by the body, which may increase during masturbation. These endorphins contribute to feelings of relaxation and euphoria. Oxytocin, on the other hand, is often known as the bonding hormone or love hormone and is released during physical intimacy, including masturbation. It promotes feelings of attachment and emotional connection, adding another layer of satisfaction to the experience. Serotonin, a neurotransmitter involved in regulating mood and emotions, can also be affected by masturbation. Temporary boosts in serotonin levels during masturbation contribute to a sense of well-being and satisfaction. These neurochemicals work together to create pleasurable sensations and reinforce the behavior of masturbation. But what makes masturbation so destructive to the mind and sexuality in general? As these questions became more frequent to Dr. Huberman, the neuroscientist started to realize there were a lot of undertones of people talking about fear of sexual dysfunction or experience with the condition that is caused, in large part, by pornography and quite common in young people, in particular, males. If you're learning something new, leave a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more.
Here I'm specifically talking about males. I actually don't know the literature on females. So here I'm talking about...
Females don't use visual pornography to the same degree.
I see.
They use literary pornography.
I see.
Yeah.
So, and then you start to think about, okay, what happens in the cascade or the arc of sexual arousal and orgasm?
Repeated overstimulation of the genitalia for pleasure, often associated with pornography consumption, correlates strongly with sexual dysfunction in males. Dr. Huberman explains that masturbation triggers a two-phase response in the body. Initially, stress can hinder sexual arousal, but once it begins, the sympathetic nervous system kicks in, leading to orgasm. After ejaculation, the body shifts back to a relaxed state. Notably, prolactin levels surge post-ejaculation in males. According to the National Database for Biotechnology Information, research indicates that prolactin increases following orgasm are involved in a feedback loop that serves to decrease arousal through inhibitory central dopaminergic and probably peripheral processes. The post-orgasmic prolactin increase is thus a neural hormonal index of sexual satiety. That means the more prolactin you get into your bloodstream after sexual activity, the more sexual satisfaction you get. And what does that do? The neuroscientist indicates that this post-orgasmic increase in prolactin blunts dopamine release and testosterone for a very long time. This makes sense for pair bonding in our species and generally in many mammals. Pair bonding is the idea that other molecules would be exchanged with partners and potential mates for raising progeny. Pair bonding is a behavioral and psychological bond between two mated individuals and is rare among non-human primates. Humans also engage in social pair bonding, where two individuals form a close relationship that does not involve sex. Although aspects of love are surely unique to our species, human romantic relationships are displays of a mating system characterized by pair bonding, likely built on ancient foundational neuromechanisms governing individual recognition, social reward, territorial behavior, and maternal nurturing. How pornography and masturbation undermine this process is by potently tapping into the dopamine system and can destroy the natural healthy processes of finding a mate, dating, communication, and eventually, if it's appropriate, sexual interaction.
It's undermining pair bonding.
And pair
well,
bonding.
so here's a question. If you're seeking sexual release through pornography and you go through the whole cycle and you get a prolactin release, do you bond with yourself?
So this is very interesting. Dr. Huberman explains biology as an open loop. What's left is a kind of emptiness because, as he says, bonding with the self is a complicated notion. No doubt there's a healthy version of that, of course. Loving oneself, taking good care, and making sure you're healthy are very important, which has more to do with Peterson's psychology than Huberman's neurobiology. In the absence of a real partner, or as the case may be, a sexual partner, there's an open loop of neurochemicals, including oxytocin and prolactin. Oxytocin is affectionately known as the cuddle hormone, trust hormone, and love hormone, and it is involved in bonding, social recognition, as well as the formation of trust. Dopamine goes up during pursuit and anticipation, then peaks, and then crashes below baseline after orgasm and ejaculation. So this is kind of a low that people fear, putting them into what Dr. Huberman calls a motivated state that eventually depletes the dopamine system. Initially, there's a huge dopamine surge with drug abuse like methamphetamine and cocaine, but over time, people are using more and more to achieve what is not such a great high. You even see this with the consumption of energy drinks. People are taking more and more chemicals within their energy drinks. You can call it stacking of dopaminergic tools. That's because energy drinks contain high levels of caffeine and are loaded with sugar and artificial sweeteners, which stimulate the release of dopamine in the brain. This surge in dopamine creates feelings of alertness, energy, and pleasure, which, like masturbation, can be addictive and encourage repeated consumption of the product. Dr. Huberman indicates that there are some fun activities he occasionally enjoys, so we don't need to be entirely afraid of pursuing or engaging in things that release dopamine, like, for instance, healthy sexual behavior, great food, and social engagement. All of these things can be dopaminergic, but it's the big peaks in dopamine that are not associated with any prior effort or organization of self that are particularly dangerous for human beings, and that's what makes masturbation so dangerous. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our life-changing videos. If you enjoyed this video, our next video explains one coffee mistake everybody makes and Dr. Huberman's caffeine routine for peak performance. Stay tuned.